ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारणम्। Hare Krishna and welcome back to today's episode of the Mahabharata. In the last episode we have seen the Yadava dynasty up to Vasudeva and Devaki and Kamsa, and we also saw how the Supreme Lord himself advented and accepted Vasudeva and Devaki as his parents. The daughter of Shurasena, who played an important role in the Mahabharata. Today we will learn about who that daughter is and what was the role that she played in the Mahabharata. We begin today's episode by taking you to Afghanistan. Don't worry, we are not going to take you there today because it's quite a strife-torn country. We are going to take you there about 3,500 years ago. At that time, Afghanistan was being ruled over by a king by name Subala. And this king Subala had a son and a daughter. The son was Saubala and the daughter was Subalini. This daughter, Subalini, was young and she had reached a marriageable age. She was very beautiful. In fact, of that time, she was one of the most beautiful girls on the planet. And she was not only beautiful, she was very intelligent and she was adorned with many good qualities which endeared her to all the people. Since she had grown up, King Subala was looking for an alliance for her. And this Subalini was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. She undertook many austerities and worshipped Lord Shiva and pleased him. And Lord Shiva blessed her that after she would get married, she would have 100 sons. This was the boon given by Lord Shiva to Subalini. Subalini also happened to be a great devotee of Vyasadeva. She was endowed with good qualities, like she was very obedient to her parents, to the elders. She was very virtuous and she was very modest despite possessing such good qualities. King Subala, being a very affectionate father, was searching for a suitable prince who could marry Subalini. At the same time, in Uttar Pradesh, which is in current day India, in the place known as Mathura, the daughter of Shurasena, who had been given to his cousin brother, she had also grown up. Now this Shurasena, we have seen, one of the sons, his eldest son was Vasudeva, and he had many other sons and daughters also. And this Shurasena also happened to have one more Vaishya wife, a woman from the mercantile class. And he had a son in her whose name was Nanda Maharaj. And this Nanda Maharaj was at that time, he was staying in Gokula, which is a little about 20-30 kilometers from Mathura. This Nanda Maharaj was a stepbrother of Vasudeva, but they were stepbrothers and they were quite good friends also. We can see this from the fact that when after the advent of Krishna, Nanda Maharaj, when he went to pay his taxes to Kamsa in Mathura, he went and met Vasudeva also. And at that time Vasudeva warned him, please go back to your home quickly because there could be some disturbances in your home. Why did Vasudeva say this? Because he had come to hear that Kamsa had hatched a plan to send various asuras, rakshasas to different parts of Mathura to kill all the newborn babies. And we also see how when Krishna appeared as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki, Vasudeva chose to take Krishna and keep him in Nanda Maharaj's home. And also Vasudeva's another wife, Rohini, she was also interested in the safe custody of Nanda Maharaj as long as Vasudeva was imprisoned by Kamsa. So all this shows that Nanda Maharaj and Vasudeva, being stepbrothers, were also quite good friends. Now, the Vasudeva's sister, whom Shurasena had handed over to his cousin brother, she was well taken care of by his cousin brother, and very frequently to their palace many rishis and devatas used to visit. And this daughter, this girl of daughter of Shurasena, she was interested with the hospitality of all these eminent personalities who would visit the palace. She was very good at taking care of them because she was very humble. Despite being the daughter of a king, she was quite humble and she would take very good care of the guests. It once so happened that Durvasa Muni came to the palace, and this girl, as usual, she was taking care of his hospitality, cooking nice prasadam for him according to his diet, making the arrangements for his comfortable stay, and simple things like that, but she took good care of him. And as we all know, Durvasa Muni, he is a partial incarnation of Lord Shiva. It is very easy to please him and get a good benediction from him. It is also very easy to displease him and get a curse also. This girl, because she was experienced in the hospitality of all these eminent rishis and sages, she could take good care of Durvasa Muni, and Durvasa Muni was very gladdened by her service and he wanted to give her some boon. And because he was a rishi, he was a great yogi, he could foresee that in the future, after this girl gets married, she will have difficulty in having children. Therefore, he thought, let me give her some benediction by which her problems can be solved. At the same time, he did not want to tell her that in the future when you get married, you will have difficulty having the children and all these kind of things. She may get worried. Why tell her all that? He just told her, I'll give you one mantra. I'm very glad with the service that you have rendered me. So I want to give you as a gift one mantra. If you chant this mantra and remember any devata, the devata will appear before you and bless you with a child. And this girl, she was a young adolescent, maybe a teenager, and she got very excited. Oh, I'm going to get a mantra and I can call any devata I want. And she very happily learned the mantra from Durvasa Muni, and then Durvasa Muni went his way. This girl, you know how normally teenagers are, children are, they are very curious, they are very playful. And one day this girl was sitting and she was thinking, oh, I've got this mantra, whether will it really work? If I use this mantra, will any devata really come or not? Let me try. So playfully she chanted the mantra, and whom to think of, she remembered Surya Deva. And suddenly before her, the effulgent Surya appeared before her in person, and she was taken aback. She had not expected this, and suddenly she realized the seriousness, the gravity of what she had done. Normally children playfully do so many things. They don't think about the repercussions or what consequences it is going to bring about in the future. They are generally very playful. So in that mood she had chanted. But suddenly she saw, in reality, Surya Deva himself is standing in front of her. She immediately became very afraid, folded her hands, bowed down before him, and then prayed to him that thank you very much, O Surya Deva, you have appeared before me. I am very happy that you have come. So thank you very much. So you can now go back. Now Surya Deva said, Arey, how can I go back? You have chanted this mantra. Now I have to fulfill this mantra. So I have to bless you with a child. So I am blessing you. Please have a child. And this girl, she got very afraid. She said, child, I am not even married. I am an unmarried girl. And I am a simple, girl. If you, how can I have a child now? I am not even married. And what will people think of me if I have a child in this unmarried state? And she supplicated to Surya Deva and she prayed to him, and Surya Deva also saw her fearful condition. He could realize that as a child, playfully she had done something without understanding consequences. And Surya Deva also did not want to trouble her. But at the same time, the mantra has to act. It has to reach its conclusion. He cannot break that rule. Therefore, Surya Deva told this girl, don't worry, as per the rules of the mantra, I have to bless you with a child. I cannot go against it. But even though the child is born of you, you will still remain a virgin. And like this, Surya Deva blessed her, and then he disappeared. And this girl gave birth to a child, but the child came out of her ear, and thus she remained a virgin. And now this young girl, unmarried, teenager, an adolescent, she is straddled with this small infant baby, and she does not know what to do with him. And she was thinking what to do. Now she did not have the courage to go and tell her father what had happened. She thought, if I go and tell my father, finish, he will hang me. And this message goes out, this news goes out, it reaches anybody's ears. That's all, my future is over. What will people think of me? How many people will believe that actually Surya Deva came and it was this mantra that worked? People will talk all sorts of things. People will criticize that I had illicit relationship with some man, and so many things. People will cook up all kinds of stories. So what will happen to me? Because that girl was from a very honorable family, and for her, honor meant a great deal. And so thinking, she thought, anyway, this information, this whatever incident has happened is known only to me and to Surya Deva. Nobody else is present here. Nobody is aware what has happened. So let me take this child and not keep him here. If I keep him here, people will come to know. So let me send him off somewhere so that nobody comes to know about this. Now what to do? So she took the baby, newborn baby, put him into a basket, and there was a river close by. She went and floated the basket in the river. And she quietly went back, and she did not tell anyone what had happened. Now in the meantime, in Hastinapura, which is near Meerut, which is about 200 kilometers from Mathura, Dhritarashtra and Pandu had grown up, and they had also reached marriageable age. Therefore, from the Kaurava family, a proposal was sent for marrying these two princes. One proposal was sent to Afghanistan, to King Subala. Another was sent to this brother of Shurasena in Mathura, to the Yadava kingdom. And both these proposals were accepted, and these two girls, one was Subalini and the other was the daughter of Shurasena, they were married into the Kaurava household. This girl from Afghanistan, Subalini, at that time Afghanistan was not known as Afghanistan. Afghanistan is a recent name. That time, that country which is today known as Afghanistan was called Gandhar. You will know that even today, Kabul is the capital of Afghanistan. But then Kandahar is also a prominent city in Afghanistan. At that time, Kandahar used to be called Gandhar, and the entire country was known as Gandhar. And so this Subalini had another name, Gandhari, and she was married to Dhritarashtra. And because Subalini or Gandhari, when she heard that she is going to get married to Dhritarashtra, who is born blind, she decided that if my husband is blind, then I should not appear superior to him in any manner. He should not feel that he is inferior to me. And so she took several layers of silk cloth and bound it around her eye. And for the rest of her life, she remained like this. She was a very chaste lady. In the Vedic times, it is said that if a woman is very chaste, she is very faithful to her husband, then she will become very powerful. She will get many siddhis, many powers. She will become spiritually very powerful. Similarly, if a man maintains brahmacharya, then he will also become very powerful. Of course, in the Vedic tradition, if a man who is married, who has become a grihastha, but he follows the principle of Garbhadana Samskara and he does not have intercourse with his wife for any purpose other than begetting children, that also only once in a month, and if he follows this principle, he is also considered as good as a brahmachari. If a man follows the process of brahmacharya, then he will also become powerful, and if a woman is very chaste, she will become powerful. This Gandhari, because of her chastity, she also became very powerful spiritually, and she also got certain powers. Now, the other the girl who was the daughter of Shurasena, her name was Pritha, and the cousin brother of Shurasena, who took care of her, who became her foster father, his name was Kunti Bhoja. And because she grew up as the daughter of Kunti Bhoja, she was also known as Kunti. And this Kunti became the wife of Pandu. And this Kunti was also not an ordinary person. She was an incarnation of the success potency of the Supreme Lord. She was an incarnation of Siddhi. And so she was also very highly qualified. She was very intelligent, and although she was the aunt of Lord Krishna, who appeared as the son of her brother Vasudeva, despite she was in a superior position to Lord Krishna, she very well knew that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and she always remained a great advanced devotee of Lord Krishna. And so this Kunti became the wife of Pandu, and Gandhari became the wife of Dhritarashtra. And when they both married and came into the Kaurava household, both of them, because of their good behavior and good character and all good qualities such as modesty, intelligence, and their loving attitude towards everyone, they endeared themselves to everybody in the Kaurava household. And Kunti and Gandhari got along pretty well. They went on very well, and they were quite good friends also. Later on, Pandu also married another princess from Madra Desha. That Madra Desha, later on, today it is known as Tamil Nadu. And that is how the city of what is known as today Chennai got the name Madras. Because in those times, it used to be known as Madra Desha, which later became Madras, and now it has become Chennai. And Dhritarashtra also married another Vaishya woman, and from her he begot a son named Yuyutsu. By the rule of primogeniture, Dhritarashtra had to become the emperor because he was the elder brother. But then a king in those days had to play an executive function, not only as far as the administration of the kingdom was concerned, but he also had to head the law enforcement as well as the defense forces. As far as the law enforcement forces agencies were concerned, they had to maintain the law and order within the country and ensure that no anti-social elements become strong. All the criminals had to be put behind bars. And when it comes to defense of the country, any opposing forces or any inimical army should be kept at bay. And the king had to personally be on the field to head these two agencies. The king himself had to be very well versed in the art of warfare to be able to lead the defense forces from the front. Unlike today the head of the country, although the president may be the head of the armed forces, still when there is a war and the battle is going on in the battlefield, it is the army chief who heads the battle. In those days, the king personally would come on to the battlefield. Now, with a disability such as blindness, Dhritarashtra would not be able to fulfill those responsibilities, and therefore he became disqualified to occupy the position of emperor. And so naturally, Pandu became the emperor, and Pandu was ruling the kingdom, and both Pandu and Dhritarashtra were quite loving, and even though Pandu became the emperor, Dhritarashtra, he maintained good relations with Dhritarashtra. However, Dhritarashtra in his heart always had that a pinch of dissatisfaction. I am the elder brother, I should have become the king, but what to do, Pandu has become the king. And this was the situation in Hastinapura, and this is how the Yadava and the Kaurava dynasty had finally come together. Now, how did Lord Shiva's benediction to Gandhari that she would have 100 sons pan out, and how was the dynasty of the Kurus forwarded from the Pandu side, and what happened to the baby whom Kunti Devi had put into a basket and floated in the river. All these things we will discuss about in our next episode. Please join us without fail in our next episode to learn about all these things. Thank you very much for joining us today. Hare Krishna. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.